Step 5, build a small senior team and don't rush it. Let's assume you're spending around $1 million a month. Here's how I would do it and how I've actually done it. Build lean, but not too lean. I've seen brands burn through incredible directors because they keep promising them that they're gonna hire them a team in a few months. Well, in a few months, you're gonna have a burnt out director looking to leave. So here's the staff you need to support your director immediately. Right now, your director is managing agencies, building foundational systems, and making ads all day, every day. They cannot do this alone. If you can't bring on more full-time hires right now, that's totally fine. But give them a freelance budget so that they can bring in the people that they trust and get the ball rolling. And that is exactly what I did at HexClad. So I immediately brought in 2 part-timers. The first was my favorite editor, Ricky, and please don't let this go to your head because I talk about you too much. And the second was my favorite senior strategist, Alyssa. I love you guys. 6 months later, I hired Alyssa full-time. And there was no on-ramp. She already knew the brand, she already knew the systems, and she was immediately able to contribute and add value. Having somebody start as a freelancer and having that lead up is so great because by the time you start paying for their health insurance, they are already super valuable and contributing to the team and making you money. Okay, so here's your core team that I would recommend. You have your director. Great. Now you need a senior creative strategist. You need 1 internal editor and 1 internal designer. And then you really need a production and casting lead. The senior strategist is not optional because they prevent the director from being a bottleneck and enable them to start doing the foundational work and the systems and operations that need to be done while also hitting your sprint plan every week. The production role, also non-negotiable. Creator sourcing, contracts, seeding, footage review, wrangling creators. It is a massive amount of work. If you don't staff this properly, your strategists are going to end up spending so much time doing operational work for productions that they don't have time to actually think deeply about the type of ads that they are making. Okay, now let's talk about editors and designers. Post-production can start freelance, but long-term, you really need 1 to 2 internal post-production people for stability. Now, your company may already have an internal graphic designer or editor who kind of is a jack of all trades. This is not the person to be your designated paid media editor. They're often super talented, but paid media is its own discipline. For your lead editor, you're gonna wanna prioritize proximity to the audience. This isn't about talent, this is about context. Your lead editor is vital. This person is going to be managing all the other editors and really setting the bar for what these edits should look like and the quality of work that they're doing. The other thing that's really important is that your lead editor, and frankly all your editors, but your lead editor also has to be a strategic counterpart. They are not just somebody who does execution. So you're really gonna want somebody who has proximity to your primary audience. It's the same reason I'd recommend to a beauty brand that they should hire a lead editor who wears makeup. Once that anchor is in place, freelance and offshore editors are so great for volume and iteration and speed and scale. And also creative diversity, because now you can start getting all these really interesting people from around the world. Because your lead editor lives in the culture that you're selling to, you can now diversify your post-production staff with editors from all over the world because you already have that core anchor. And now all that diversity makes better ads because you have more different types of creative minds with different perspectives, because diversity makes you money. Okay, so in terms of number of strategists to editors and designers. So the rule of thumb is that you want at least a 2-to-1 ratio of editors to strategists, but as you start to scale, you really are gonna want 3-to-1, especially if they're part-time. So you really just kind of gotta balance that of how fast are my strategists getting stuff out and how many editors does it take to actually get those briefs that they have written out by the deadline at the end of the week. Another very real consideration is working hours. Editing is collaborative, detail-oriented work. It depends on fast feedback and momentum. If editors and strategists are on completely opposite schedules, quality drops. They need to be able to speak to each other or Slack to each other and communicate and collaborate in real time. So if you're using offshore editors, they need to work in US hours or at least, within an hour or 2 of your strategist schedule. So once you have your core team, then you can start to expand in the directions where you're really seeing you need more support. At this stage, smart additions would be maybe a more junior creative strategist, another production person, or a content creator that can create in-house content on a regular basis. You don't just want to pad your team for the sake of padding your team. You really need to figure out where are the bottlenecks, what skills are missing from the team that you have, and fill in those gaps. So there really is no exact formula. It really depends on who did you hire, what skills do they have, and what skills are missing.